What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Real Deal Podcast. In this playlist, in this series, we're going to go ahead and just share with you real deals from the trenches with stories and lessons learned of actual deals that we are doing or have done in our office, and sharing the insights, the key takeaways that hopefully you can implement in your business. Now, if you like reading, you can also check out our post at wififlips.com/blog. But I like to do this video and podcast because myself, I'm one that likes to write down the information and then actually consumes the information more through podcasts and through YouTube video. So welcome to the Real Deal Podcast, episode number 1. So in today's episode, I want to talk about Jimmy. Jimmy is a seller that called us in the office almost crying after he hated us over 9 months ago. You see, Jimmy, like a lot of our sellers, are not clear as to what they want. They do not understand the market. They need help. And the issue is that because we provide them a cash offer, which is typically on the lower side, end up resenting us at first. But you see, what Jimmy did not know is that then he went to actually list the property with no success by an overpriced licensed professional, and then got cash offer from an uneducated wholesaler that just essentially agreed to what his asking price was. Now, Jimmy is faced with the predicament that he still has the house. He can't keep up with the mortgage payments. He doesn't have equity. The market has changed, and unfortunately, Jimmy is stressed out. He's no longer wanting to sell. He needs to sell. And the reason why Jimmy's now under contract with us for us to take over his $280,000 house for only $600 down with a technique known as subject to existing mortgage purchase is because we have the adequate acquisition pipeline systems in place. You see, Jimmy thought, just like a lot of us, that we know better. The fact is that you, as a real estate investor, as a real estate wholesale investor, your job is to make sure that your business stays afloat. And so the way that we make our offers in our office is we start with a lowball cash offer. Then we let them, perhaps counter or try to renegotiate with us. And we have a program called Equity Protection in which we just agree on a flat price. And if that doesn't work, then we'll do a subject to. And if they're way behind payments and the house is really upside down, we do a short sale. Now, I want to read to you a little bit about this blog and maybe just converse and just have a dialect, right, around some of the key things that you need in your business and that you want to check for to make sure that you get more contracts like Jimmy, right? Because we are in the business of making the money on the buy. We realize it on the exit, right? He got strung along for almost a year by uneducated real estate wholesaler, like I was mentioning. As we preach in our acquisition pipeline, we start off with our 50 to 70% minus repairs offers for our cash. He had shut down. There's three main key things that I want you to take away from this video, from this podcast, and stress test your business. See if you actually have these in place. If you don't, I recommend check out our resources at wififlips.com. So the first one is automated information intake system. Every call, every text must be tracked. It must be tracked at the source. There's simply no negotiation. Systems set the foundation for scale. Would you really sail? Would you go in open water and sail without guidance, without navigation? I think not. Then why are you running your business without an actual information intake system? If you're saying, Joel, I don't spend any money on marketing, then I'm going to say you're lying to yourself. What value does your time have? What opportunity costs are you incurring in by not having and investing into your inbound lead generation? I'm not the thought that we want to live by a dollar or manage cold callers and, whatever they got going on in their life to actually get consistent deal flow. I want consistent deal flow, and that's it, point blank. No ifs and buts about it. If you want to check out some of our resources that are tagged in our blog post, you want to go to wififlips.com/blog. Now, for every call, every text, every web form, we need to be able to track it back to the source. Bottom line, if there's no tracking to the source, then you're missing out on revenue and opportunity. This is the main strategic responsibility that you have as a business owner is knowing what to cut and knowing what to double down. If you do not have an intake system that identifies back to the source, how are you going to be able to know what's actually working? Number 2 is automated scheduling system. As soon as the lead comes in, the number one job of your system, your acquisition system, is to get that seller to stop the form fill out. Because if you think that somehow you are special, that they're only going to want to work with you, then let me tell you kind of the reality of it all. The fact is that they're talking to 3, 4, 5, sometimes even 7 other people. But if you can get a time locked in into their calendar as soon as possible and make it super, super easy, simple to actually work with you and your team, you have a long way ahead out of everybody else. Because with AI, artificial intelligence, and the way that everything is set up right now, you are in an opportunity in an era where you have bots that they don't get tired, they don't have to have dinner, they're not playing with kids, they're not out in date night with, their spouses, and it can get your team busy. Ideally, your closers are coming to work, not to prospect, but to actually have willing and able sellers to talk to. Now, going back to the comment around them probably not showing up. The fact is that they're probably not going to show up about 80-something% of the time. That's fine. That's where we actually start talking about short and long-term nurture follow-up. Some people just don't like to talk on the phone. Some people rather talk on the phone. Some people only like to text. Some people only like to email. So you have to have a multimedia messaging in your system that follows out not only at first, but long-term. And if you analyze and you read through our blog posts and you see all the screenshots, all the snapshots, everything that we got going on there, you will see that we did all these 3 things with Jimmy. We actually went ahead and had an information intake system. We share where we got the lead source from. We had an automated scheduling system, scheduling him for a cash out consultation as soon as possible, right? We were one of the first ones, if not the first one, to speak with him. After he declined our offer and ghosted us, eventually came back months later on because we have not only short-term, but long-term multimedia messaging follow-up. So perhaps somebody blocks you on text. They're still getting your emails. Perhaps they block your calls, but they're still getting your emails and your text messages. You need this multimedia messaging so that you can actually be and stay top of mind for your sellers, all right? So here's what I want you to do. Check out the blog, wififlips.com/blog, and I want you to stress test your system, your actual system against these 3 principles and correct it. And if you are yet to correct it, you can check out our proprietary CRM, which has all these things. You can go to wififlips.com/CRM and you can get the automated information intake system. You can get the automated scheduling system. You can also get the short and long-term multimedia messaging that we use in our business day to day to keep our closers busy and happy. Until next video, hope you guys are doing well. Let me know in the comments what sort of questions you have. And make sure you subscribe and like to support the channel. God bless.